The catwall is finally complete. Holy crap. This took way longer than I was expecting, but it came out fantastic. The major issue that I ran into was that whenever I was trying to install into the studs, there's only one stud like at the 24-inch mark. So this is supposed to attach into like 16-inch separation, or like, yeah, anyways, like there's supposed to be 16 inches in between the studs, and I just didn't have that to work with. So instead I had to get an entire piece of plywood, a 4 foot by 8 foot, and with that I was able to just put that into this one stud, and it kind of sits on this windowsill here. Otherwise, if it was bigger, I could have put it into 3 studs, and that would have been better. But you know, it's such a small space that I just had to work with what I had. Anyways, the 1 inch. What's the best way of putting this? I don't really have a script. I'm just psyched out. Let's see. So to put it on the actual plywood, to get that into the stud, for one, I had to use the what are they called? The stud finders. And so these are my 3 different stud finders. This is the cheapest one. I've had this thing for like 15 years, and it's fantastic. It gets the job done 99% of the time. If you want a step up, this one here, I don't know, it's like a mid-range, and it's got a little laser inside of it as well. It's a little bit better in the way that it operates, is that it actually detects a little bit more than just, because the other one, all it does is just light up and ding, but this one actually kind of shows you where it's at. However, I was kind of dubious, because whenever I was putting it, I was like, there's no way there's only one stud. How could there only be one stud for this entire area? So I bought this. This is like the cream of the crop right here. And whenever you turn this one on, whenever you're like right at the center of the stud, it turns green. And so it was definitely, yeah, there's the green right there. It was definitely working, because all 3 of them found that one stud, and then to my dismay, that's all there is. So once I had that established, I hammered a nail into that stud to just double check that there is definitely a stud there. And then I used this Milwaukee level is probably the best one, because it's just like, you can get a $20 one, but this one, if you drop it, it's much more likely to not get discombobbled. These things can like get loose if you buy the cheaper one. So yeah, I would just put this right where that stud is and follow that up and drill in 3-inch screws. And so, not just any screws, because it comes with these, here we go. Comes with these screws right here, but these, like, for one, they're Phillips head. I hate Phillips head. 2, it comes with these things, and you're supposed to put these into drywall. There's no way with my 20-pound cat am I going to trust drywall inserts and then screw into those for it. And yeah, because I could have done that, because there's paneling right here, and then there's drywall behind that, and that's the main reason why I wasn't really trusting my stud, because there's paneling on top of the drywall, but it turns out it was accurate. So anyways, those have Phillips head, but I hate Phillips head when it comes to installing stuff, so I get the star bit, and the star bit is just, it's so much better because it never strips. You never have to worry about this thing. Is that correct? Oh yeah, it's like mirror image when I'm looking at it. Anyways, you never have to worry about it stripping. It's super reliable. So anytime I'm installing something, I always just exchange it for star bits. And then when you're installing it, if you get a cordless hammer drill, it works fantastically. If you get the combo that comes with the bag, I think it's like $100 on Amazon. It's just one of the best purchases that I've ever made as a DIY handyman. So anyways, I got those three into that. And whenever I was installing these shelves themselves, the plywood is only like about an inch thick. And so I used 1 1/4 inch star bits to put the actual shelves in, because it came with those really long ones, but that was completely unnecessary, and then they probably wouldn't have even worked, because by the time you get down to the 1 inch that's there, and we can look at these. Nah, these would have worked. But still, I mean, because a lot of the times this part just gets like bare, like there's no screw twist on it. But that's not the case on this time. So these would have worked, but it's just, this is overkill. I can use these for something else if I ever use them, because they're Phillips head. So yeah, one other major thing that I had to deal with was whenever I was trying to go diagonally so that I could link into this this stud, but it just wasn't working. I was using the 3 inch and I was going at a 45 degree, and no matter how many times I tried, different angles, different positions, I couldn't get it to work. And a major issue that I was running into was the screws kept, like, they would go all the way in, but then they wouldn't come out because they weren't catching on anything. So how do you get a screw out when it's like all the way in and the drill won't have it come out? There's two major ways that you do that. One is that you use a vice grip. So vice grips are absolutely amazing because they just lock into place. Once you like really, what is it called? Like use some force to get it to lock in to the head of the screw, then you can like actually like pull and twist out at the same time. And the other method is let's say you have the screw, right? And then this is on the screw, and you put this like right at the edge to where you have the screw head here, and then this is right underneath the screw head, and you use that as kind of a leverage to try to get it to where you're having like a pulling action. And with that, you can start to kind of pry it out as this is going outwards. So those are the two methods I used, because whenever it was at like the full 45 degree angle, at that point I couldn't get the vice grips to even grab anything. So I had to resort to other measures. Anyways, I think that's about it. Oh, the last thing was the fact that it wasn't able to fit in this area. Like it's a 4x8 foot plywood, but it's just like, this is not a 4x8 area, so I had to get the people at Home Depot to cut it down to like 41 inch by 81 inch or something like that, as opposed to 48 by 96. And it was almost perfect, but it was like maybe 2 millimeters too wide. So how do you cut an 8 foot long or almost 8 foot long board? And the answer is sawhorses. I put the plywood over that, and I didn't even have to, normally you'd have to use like C-clamps or something to clamp the board into place to make sure it doesn't move. But it was such a heavy piece of board anyways that I didn't really have to worry about it. So I had that, like the thin strip that I needed to get rid of on this side, and then I just used this circular saw. And with the circular saw, you have these little things right here that help you figure out where to go. And then this part here, once you have that there, then this slowly reveals the saw. So it's a pretty ingenious thing. Like once you let go, then it helps to keep you pretty safe. And this circular saw, this thing is like over a decade old, and it still kicks ass. So that's a great piece of equipment to have on hand whenever you need to make little things. Ideally, you would want a table saw, but the table saw, I mean, it just takes up room that I really don't have in here. The miter saw, that is used much more often, so I make room for that. But the table saw, if you have this circular or skill saw, you can do what you would do with a table saw. It just takes a little bit more finagling.